Hello everyone, another morning. Usually I'm a little bit earlier out here when I have a clean morning to visit with y'all. This is another check-in. I've been sitting here on my swing and watching a hawk, a falcon fly overhead for a little while. Flying with another bird in and out, and I wasn't sure what the other bird was. But it has moved on. I was questioning, what do I get to share? And this morning I was channeling with my higher self, and as I entered in, I was feeling the fire. There was a huge amount of fire that was within, the depths of my system. And it's interesting because normally I'm feeling it like extensively, but it was interesting to step in and feel the huge amount of fire, of stuff happening within my system. It's just like, wow, this is intense. And usually when that kind of intense stuff is happening, sometimes I feel like my guides and my higher self, and it's like their focus is really on assisting in that process, and they're not here to hang out and chat. Even though when I entered, there was my higher self was very attentive, and we talked about a few different things that were really cool, and I thought I'd share a little bit with you, with everyone. And feel free if you have any questions or comments, or say hello below. I love that. But part of the discussion we were having was concerning this idea of two paths that people can take, of service to self or service to other. And at first, one might look at it and say, oh, well, that makes sense. Now I'm just going to, either I deprive myself or I give, I put myself first. But this is not actually what, up front you may look at that, but this isn't really the truth of what, I guess, the meaning of those words are. So I wanted to talk about each one. And ultimately, when you are in the, ultimately, I can say is that in oneness, if connected to love, that both of them actually are the same thing. But we're speaking from a dualistic point where there is a separation, and that separation comes in the form of the idea of this service to self. Now, even if as I say that, something is felt in my chest. Service to self, wow. But service to self sometimes is thought and seen as, selfishness, someone paying attention to what's happening in their body, someone being concerned with themselves. And this isn't what it's symbolizing, because not paying attention to self, not being centered in self, in awareness of self, means that there is a separation. There is a separation in oneness, and you aren't owning and honoring the you that's here. You aren't being with, and therefore you're actually denying your creative potential, your godliness, as you do so. But hey, we do it all the time, right? I mean, this is a part of the play that we're in. You can look at it in that way. Or you can look at it as simply, I'm in an experience and I'm now learning how to be more present within myself. And as I am present within myself, I'm offering myself the same loving kindness that I am anyone. And this loving kindness is a natural aspect of myself, which then, as I allow it to come forward through my system, I am offering it to other in action. I'm offering it to myself in action. So something that my guides or my higher self just had me experience this morning was I was asking about, it was almost like I was asking permission for something to occur in my life. Part of it was that I was feeling my judgment, um, and I was like, oh, I just got a text from someone who wants to text. Um, anyways, but um, I'm just gonna text him, say, I'm doing a Facebook Live, still here. Yay! Um, so, um, this experience, so this is the experience they pulled me in, and thank you for being patient. So I felt myself in this kind of space, in an orb or a room, and which is basically all mirrors. And this is what we can, this is kind of a tool, a mirroring tool. So when people think about mirroring and they use it, this is a way mirroring can be used. Now I was sitting in this mirrored room, and I was sitting in the center, and they were saying, think of what you're asking for, because you're clear on it. You're clear on it as being a gift to yourself and a gift to other. And can you imagine yourself, this being active and true and a part of your life? And I was sitting there believing it, because I'm wanting to create a way that people can contact me, that I can have community, that I can play, that's simple and easy. But of course, it's going to cost money. And so I was there, and I was imagining it, and I was feeling good into it. I'm feeling like, okay, yeah. And they were like, now imagine, look at yourself crossed into the mirror, and imagine that this is a gift. This is, and all I can feel is it's almost like, if those of you who've been in the LDS temple, I don't know, it's like I had something wrapped up in a beautiful cloth, a white cloth, and I was holding it, and it was a sacred gift. And I offered it over, it was almost as if I was offering it over the altar to myself. And as I was offering it over to myself, I was offering it to everyone, right? I was offering it to my world. And this was the space that was really, it felt like I was in the Holy of Holies. My guides chatted to me. If any of you have watched episodes of Welcome to Channeling, that experience with Kat Galata, where she talks about choice, and it's simply being choice in there, and I can see all of these opportunities, these ships coming in, and I can identify and say, that one's for me. And it's not taking away from anyone else as I do so. And as I'm with this experience, they asked me to do this with a few other things. I can see, and I absolutely agree, that this idea of separation between me and other is null and void. It doesn't exist in this space. And recognizing that what I'm offering to myself, I also offer to others, that there's no separation is a part of this experience. So then that is what's considered in these terms service to others. That's what's considered the path of service to others. Now, I know it's confusing, because I, in my core, acknowledge and honor myself from the beginning, right? So I would call these two different things. I would relabel these things if I was it, and I may relabel these things, because to me it brings in confusion. Now, the idea of service to self is interesting, because I've received information from my guides surrounding this, and that there is an appropriate time that it may be used, but there's immature phases of it and mature phases of it. In mature phases of it, you see the oneness, you see what's happening, but you're basically playing with, you're playing with the flow of energy in order to create. And in this energy, you almost create a vacuum or a space where a huge other shift or world can be, if that makes any sense. And some of you, it may make sense, some of you, it doesn't make sense. But basically, you're using this idea of separateness and trying to gather, bring as much as you can into you, sustaining you, and it continues in this vacuum, and it continues and it continues and it continues, right? And there is this idea of separation. A lot of times this is experienced when you claim separation and you're in fear and you're not able to own it. And actually that experience continues to expand, 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 and expand. And you're trying to sometimes run away from it by puffing yourself up bigger and bigger and being of more importance than other. Everything is suited for you as opposed to other. So there's a diminishment of the value of other, except for perhaps them serving you. There is a diminishment of accountability in the whole scheme of things, perhaps. And this can look in many different ways. People, this can look as elitism. It can look as trying to establish oneself as an authority. Many different ways, many different things, many different ways. But for me, the ultimate acknowledgement of oneness, I think, is an initial idea that can help people understand and separate the two things. And for them to be able to say, am I experiencing this experience of oneness? Do I know that as I give, as I'm walking and as I'm offering to other, that I am offering to myself? Do I understand and know the movement of love and it flowing naturally in my life? And that as I walk forward, whatever I'm offering is a gift to all. So those are some of my thoughts. And if you want to try that experience for yourself, you being able to hone in, and when you clear off all of the story around what you want in truth and acknowledge it being coming from the purity, and even if there's a lot of ideas that are connected to it, you just honoring and saying, this truly is an offering to myself and to others. And it can be that simple. I think that's really beautiful that my higher self was really bringing that to my attention. So leaving this message with everyone. Yesterday was 8/8. There were a lot of things happening, and I wanted to do a shout out to Leela Rose. Yesterday I joined in some playtime with her and some other people. She does Quantum Play Academy, and I just want to congratulate her in all the work that she's done in bringing people in and helping them play. It was a beautiful experience, and I'm trying to do that myself. I'm trying to invite people in and have playtime. I call it, what I'm wanting to establish more is what's called crazy magic playtime. And I'm just feeling out what's the best way to connect, how to bring people in. So this is me, Gwen, doing my thing, spreading the love. Have a beautiful day, and please feel free to leave comments below. What is your take on this idea of service to self and service to others? I'd love to hear that from you. Bye-bye, everyone.